I'm the kind of person who I have basically gotten all my close friends on that routine. Today we're going to be talking about your skincare routine, and I've gotten questions, and this is a little bit to say right now, but I feel very flattered whenever, and this happens to me quite a few times, where people are just like, oh my god, your skin is so nice and smooth, and like, and I'm just like, oh my god, thank you. And what, I never know how to respond to it, because I don't know how you're supposed to respond to that. But I've always been so flattered at the idea of somebody coming to me and being like, oh my gosh, you have such nice skin. And I feel really honored that people think that. I'm very, very happy. Thank you to anyone who has ever said that to me. I'm the kind of person who I have basically gotten all my close friends on that routine, like on that skincare routine. I've got my mom, my best friend's mom, my best friend, and I'm very happy because seeing people around me enjoy the same thing that I enjoy all the time, I feel very flattered, because I feel like, well, if I can enjoy it, why can't you? And then introducing people to their routines and watching them enjoy it just as much as I do is one of my favorite things. I want to talk to you guys about it because I feel like if you're watching my videos, you're probably, interested in that kind of stuff. And I feel like for me, I love my skin, and I feel like the basis of anything is your skincare. And I'm still perfecting my skincare. I don't think you can ever perfect your skincare. So that's a disclaimer out there. There is no such thing as a perfect skincare. And I've heard people say, you need to perfect your skincare. You can't do it. There's no such thing as a perfect skincare. Your skincare routine is going to change. It's going to change based on your environment. It's going to change based on your finances. It's going to change based on the climate, genetics, everything that is around you, within you, your diet, all of it. It aids in the skincare that you need to give yourself. So there's no such thing as a perfect skincare. What you can do, though, to help your skin be the best it can, I feel like it's these basics: cleansing, moisturizing, cleansing, hydrating, moisturizing, SPF. Those are your 4 categories, right? I recommend double cleansing, and I know not everybody loves the idea of using an oil cleanser, and to people, they don't see the purpose in using an oil cleanser. An oil cleanse is essentially the cleanse that's supposed to help get your oil-based makeup, your oil-based skincare. It's supposed to help break it down. I've actually heard people say this. Oil cleansers are just an extra step that cosmetic companies have come up with to get you to spend money. I've actually heard people say that. I've heard people say it in real life, and I've heard people say it on the internet. And no, it's not a ploy by cosmetic companies to get you to spend money. And I know you're probably thinking, well, I only see expensive brands coming out with oil cleansers, and nowadays you have so many more options. Basically every brand in the drugstore has an oil cleanse, or at least a form of oil cleansing. It has one. Elf has one, Superdrug has one, Boots has one, Nip and Fab has one, the Inkless have one, The Ordinary has one. Every single drugstore brand you can think of, no. L'Oreal, I believe, has one. Garnier is coming out with amazing products for the drugstore, for your skin. Look at those brands, they have them. You say for all the name brands, they have them. You can find them, they're not that expensive. And if you're going to be spending your money on parts of your skincare that are supposed to be important to you, if you really want to make your skincare work, these are places that you need to be investing. That's why I gave you these 4 categories, because these are the places that you need to spend your time and your research on to ensure that you really have that basis down. find yourself a good oil cleanse. It's important. It's worth it. Trust me. Go out yourself. And I know they're expensive, so I'm not gonna be like go out and buy every single one, because it's not feasible. That wouldn't work. But you can over time do it, and it's a learning thing. You don't have to like every single one of them. I know for a fact I don't like every one of them, but I slowly take my time to understand, why don't I like it? Is it just because I've tried another product and I feel like it's better than last? Because trust me, I've used so many products over the years where I'm just like, I've tried better. And that's probably based on price why I don't like it. Like price, it's probably expensive and I've tried better, or it's cheaper but I've tried more expensive and so I prefer that one, and it's because I think the quality is better. Just things like that. So it's up to you. Figuring that out. Next is your water cleanse. Your water cleanse can be anything, honestly, but double cleansing is such a huge part. What I don't recommend in your basis for your base routine is a micellar water. And I know people are probably going to be like, why it's such a big part of cleansing in today's society, and it is. You see a lot of people advocating for micellar cleanses, but I don't advocate for people to put this as a part of their main routine, because I feel like a lot of people don't use a micellar water as a cleanser in the correct way. I think a lot of people use their micellar water as their first and only cleanse, and to me that won't work. Your micellar water is essentially your first cleanse. And I think a lot of people don't understand that a micellar water as a cleanser doesn't work the same way as an oil cleanser. And that is, you put the micellar water on your pad and you put it wherever you want your makeup to break down. It's gonna break down your makeup. The problem is, I think people take it like a toner, they pour it in and then just start wiping. That is not how you get your makeup off. And your makeup isn't going to come off properly. And then because they feel like, oh, that's taken off everything, they don't go in with a second cleanse and they're just going with the rest of your routine. And so I do not recommend, if you're going to be getting a second cleanse, or if you're going to be cleansing at all as a part of this routine, that you use a micellar water. I recommend a cleansing oil, balm, jelly, all of it, but not a micellar water. And I recommend a water-based cleanser. I don't recommend as your evening cleanse. So I'm going to say that you can't use this. No, this is where it's going to be a bit harder. I'm not going to say you can't use this as a cleanser. I just don't recommend this as an evening cleanser. So, you know what? Never mind, scrap it. I don't recommend this as a cleanser. And I'm going to explain why. And it's a cleansing gel. I've tried them. I have one that's still in my shower right now, and it's basically full. And I use it for other things. I don't use it to cleanse my face. But I don't recommend a cleansing gel as my second part, as I said, as your routine. They're meant for people with dry skin. I have dry skin. They're meant for people with dry skin. The problem is they don't foam. They have little to no surfactant action at all. No, none. Really none. Cleansing gels, so like those jelly based water cleansers, not the oil ones that are meant to break down the makeup, the ones that are supposed to be used as a water cleanser, those I don't recommend because I feel like they don't work. And again, this is just where, like the micellar water, if you're going to be using it, you have to understand how it's supposed to be used. And if you don't understand how it's supposed to be used and you're going in thinking, oh, just use it like a regular cleanser, you're probably not going to be using it properly, and then your skin is going to be cleansed the way it's supposed to. I would have recommended it as a day cleanse. So if you're like me and you have dry skin and you wake up in the morning, a lot of people tend to say, oh, don't cleanse in the morning. I do not stand by that. I cleanse morning and evening. I don't recommend not cleansing in the morning, especially because I feel you tend to have heavier skincare at night. I slug at night. So I have the CeraVe ointment. This is basically petroleum. It actually is petroleum. And I use that all over my face at night. I could not wake up the next morning and not cleanse my face. That would be cruel to myself, right? So I use that. I need to cleanse. But then you have a lot of people who say, oh, don't cleanse in the morning. So a cleansing gel is supposed to be that bridge between not cleansing in the morning and cleansing, because it's not surfactant heavy, which means it doesn't have any suds, which means it isn't as harsh for your skin as a regular water-based cleanser. right? The problem is, like I said, if you're using something like this on your face, it doesn't break down this like a regular cleanser should, because that's not the purpose, right? So I really would not recommend people putting as a part of their water cleanser routine. Any other cleanser is fine. So it's not that I'm saying don't use it. I'm just saying, and it's not that I'm saying don't use any of these. It's just I'm saying if you're using these really need to be products that you have an understanding of how they're supposed to be used. And then you're adding that with that mentality into your routine. If you don't have that understanding and you're going with it to say, oh, it's just like this cleanser, and it's really not, you tend to find more problems than you tend to find solutions when it comes to utilizing it, and when it comes to adding and taking away things from the routine, because that lack of understanding can screw up something further down the line, right? Next, you have hydration, right? Hydration is water, like the basis of that, water. So you get your face washed, right? We just talked about cleansing, and no, hydration is essentially you adding water into your skin. Now, obviously, if you're gonna be like, but you just wash your face, there's already water in your skin. True. However, you usually have some form of a toner, or in a lot of cases, if it's mostly just for hydration, it would be an essence. And that's really, a toner is to balance your pH, and essence is really to add hydration. So you're most likely trying to find an essence. They usually use the words interchangeably, so you can find either one. Most toners tend to have hydrating ingredients, so look for something that says, so this one, see if I can just like, there we go, it has like it says right there, it has vitamin B3, vitamin B5. It doesn't say it has vitamin B3. Vitamin B3 is niacinamide, which different thing. It has vitamin B5. So these are what you're looking for in a toner: glycerin, hyaluronic acid, panthenol. Those are your three main hydrators. So obviously water is in everything. You're not really looking for water, but you're looking for things like glycerin, panthenol, hyaluronic acid. Those are your hydrators. Those are what's going to take that water that you just added to your skin via cleansing, and then hold it onto your skin barrier and keep it there to plump. If you're looking for that nice plump Korean glass skin-esque like texture, that is what you're really looking for. You're looking for something that really holds water on your skin, because that is where it comes from. It's a lot of water that is constantly just pushed into the skin via constant hydration, and it floods the cells and gives them a nice plumper, fuller texture, because they're so water filled, right? Your cells are water-based substances, so you do tend to, your cytoplasm is water. It's made up of mostly water. So your skin cells, which are regular cells, also have cytoplasm, which also take water. So it will flood into that and, you know, give you that nice plump, hydrated, shiny, smooth texture that you'd want for younger looking type skin, right? It can also help with wrinkles, if you're wondering with that. Hydration is the biggest source of getting wrinkles, and it's not because they actually get rid of wrinkles. What it does is it floods that indent in your skin to give it a less visible appearance. That's where you get things like caffeine, and it's like bits into my lip. That's where you get things like, you know, caffeine. It's to genuinely like inject that into those little areas and give it like that texture, right? Oh, I was like, look at my hat. But that's what you're looking for, hydrators. That's where you get it from. So, you know, that is where, so you cleanse and then you get something like that to flood your skin right after you wash your face, because that is the best course of action, right? Then you go into moisturizer. No, I've been guilty of this, where I use the word hydration and moisture interchangeably, and I've come to realize they're actually not the same thing. Hydration, like I just said, is water. Moisture is the opposite. Moisture is oil. So you hydrate with whatever toner you use, and then you have your moisturizer, which is supposed to be a sealing ingredient. Your moisturizer is supposed to have any emollient based ingredients in it, and that is supposed to give your skin a kind of a protective barrier between your skin and the environment. Now, the reason for this is because there is something considered called transepidermal water loss. I think I've touched upon it in this channel before. If I haven't, it's if you haven't seen that video, I don't remember which one it is. But if you don't know what it is, it's essentially the skin losing water. Your skin naturally loses water day to day, right? Which is why you kind of want to constantly add hydration back into it, add water back into it. What moisture does, and the reason for moisturizers, is you take that water and instead of you take that you put a barrier over your skin. So if your skin has a barrier over it, right? So it's just like if you're walking outside in the rain. If you're walking outside in the rain without an umbrella, the rain is going to fall on you, right? Because you have nothing to give you that barrier between the rain and yourself. If you're walking outside and you have a raincoat on, if you have or better yet, an umbrella, you are giving yourself an overall better chance of having no rain touch you because there is something between you and the rain. No, with the analogy, you can also say, well, but the rain isn't 100% going to be not touching me, right? There's a possibility that when it touches the ground, it splatters and hits you. And just like with moisturizer, it's not 100% accurate, right? You are not going to 100% of the time get no tool muscles kind of protection. That's not a possibility. I don't think that's ever been a possibility, mostly because your moisturizer can only last for a certain amount of time, and after that time is up, you're going to start losing water in your skin again, right? And also, if you don't have a good moisturizer, if you have a shitty umbrella, you're not going to protect it from the rain at all. So you're not going to protect your skin, is going to protect it at all, right? So look at that analogy as how you want to keep your skin. So you want to get a good umbrella to protect you from the rain, just like you want to get a good moisturizer to protect your skin from transepidermal water loss. Now, my favorite, and this is a personal thing, I keep reiterating on this channel, I said it so many times, I think you're probably sick and tired of hearing me say it, but I have dry skin. And so I prefer oil-based moisturizers. My favorite oil-based moisturizer comes from Molida. They have an amazing moisturizer. Another one, which other one have I loved? I have loved any peptide moisturizer. So the Inculus has a peptide moisturizer. I've tried it and I loved it. La Roche-Posay has a peptide. No, La Roche-Posay has their Nutri moisturizer. It's a very nice thicker cream. Their Cicaplast balm. No, I don't know if I've said this on this channel, but I have a very bad experience when it comes to Cicaplast. I think it's one of the only ingredients I'm probably allergic to. And so that's an ingredient itself I would never use, but their Cicaplast balm is one of my favorite things. In terms of texture, it's really thick. If you're looking for protection, that's one of them. Really great at doing that. And then I showed this before. It's a CeraVe intensive ointment, repair ointment, and this is what I use to slug. So it's what I use at night. So after my moisturizer, I tend to apply this over my skin as a even further protective barrier. It's just like using a water mask or like a sleeping mask. It's the same thing. It's just that this has botulinum, which is what you find Vaseline, very similar, and that gives me an even better protective layer. Sometimes my moisturizer is just like a really nice gel moisturizer if I'm going for it for just the texture, and so this is even better because it gives me an overall protection. So I'm getting the benefits from the water-based moisturizer that is really just there for nice further hydration, and then that is really my moisturizing ingredients, my sealing ingredients, my protective thing. So it's also something that you can say you look for anything that is occlusive. If it's occlusive, that's another way of saying it's protective. So it prevents your skin from the environment, free radicals, or it's antioxidant. It's a very protective kind of a product, right? That's what you're looking for. If it has lanolin in there, it's also a really good ingredient. So look for anything that has lanolin or petrolate. Or no, me saying all of this, you have to also understand your skin. And so I'm not saying everybody with any skin type can use this, because if you have oilier skin, you're probably more predisposed to having clogged comedones, which is where you get the word comedogenic from. So that is your pores. So you don't want to, you know, get clogged comedones. You don't want to use products that are that heavy to, you know, make, you know, into your skin. You really don't want that. So you want to look out for more water-based moisturizers. Now, with that being said, you can also, for your own protectiveness, get an oil. My favorite oil is a squalane. If I'm going to recommend any oil for the skin, squalane is what I would go for. Squalane is, I think, the best oil because it is an occlusive oil. And it's also naturally found in the epidermal layer. If you saw my things that I want to see my hair, you saw that I talked about products and oils in my hair. You saw that I talked about using squalane oil on my hair shaft because it is a naturally found ingredient within the epidermal layer. And that's another reason why I recommend this as the oil to use on your skin. It is a really good oil for that purpose. It's also really good at being an antioxidant because it helps fight free radicals. It helps ensure that other ingredients get absorbed into the skin barrier. So if you're adding other ingredients into your skincare routine, like actives, that is a really good ingredient at ensuring that they get absorbed into that epidermal layer really well. So you can find yourself a nice water-based moisturizer and then find yourself an oil for your occlusiveness, right? And if you have dry skin, you can just go straight into the oil-based moisturizers because they're a lot better for you. They're a lot easier and they tend to give you that emollient that you're lacking already in your skin. For people with oily skin, they're not lacking that, so they don't have to worry about their skin needing that extra oil protection, right? Because they tend to suffer less transepidermal water loss than people with drier skin because they have more oils, more sebum to give them that protection for themselves. So we're going through that, right? Finally, let's talk about SPF. Now, this is the biggest. So like I spent like a good 10 minutes talking about oil cleansing. SPF is probably the most important to all of this. SPF. Oh, you see, what people don't tend to realize is your entire routine can be 100% amazing, and it can all be destroyed by the lack of SPF or lack thereof of SPF, right? And that is because your SPF is the most important part of your routine, and I don't think people realize it's more of a necessity now in today's day because of just what is happening with the environment. Previously, when I was living back in Jamaica has a sun hot. Okay, guys, sun hot. Okay, and I didn't wear SPF often, very rarely actually, but I also didn't understand. But I also understood then that the environment wasn't as deteriorated and the ozone wasn't as damaged as it is now, right? So I know for a fact that carbon emissions, even though they were high, it wasn't so high that me not wearing SPF in my hot climate country would be that damaging, right? However, here I know for a fact that it's gotten worse, and so I want to protect myself. And I've also come down knowing that skin cancer is for anyone. It does not differentiate, and melanin helps. So I'm not gonna say that it doesn't. So anybody who's like melanin doesn't, it actually does help. there is science behind why having a darker pigment in your melanin helps to protect you a little bit better because, you know, pigment absorption, all that. But that's a whole other video, right? I personally don't wear anything that is below SPF 50, but that's just a personal choice. SPF 30 works, SPF 50 works, SPF above 50 works, and it's not a necessity that you buy the most expensive brand or anything like that. The one I'm using currently is from Garnier. It's their vitamin C, and it is their SPF 50. Now, you tend to find something like this. It does tell you, just to the camera here, it does say SPF 50 plus, and then you see your UVB plus UVA. Now, you want, when you look for an SPF, that it says UVB plus UVA. That is because you want a broad spectrum SPF. You don't just want a regular SPF. Broad spectrum means that it's protecting you from both UVA and UVB rays. And it's very important that you get a broad spectrum because your UVA rays are the most damaging. You want to get something that will protect you, right? Your UVB rays are usually protected with your titanium dioxide, your zinc oxide, your octocrylene, your alpha benzone, your oxybenzone, those ingredients, right? So you're really good, but then they also protect from UVA, and your UVA tends to be more important in terms of wanting protection from, because your UVAs can travel the longest. Your UVB rays might not, they're the ones that you won't see unless there's sunlight. So to say your UVBs are the ones that you won't see unless there's sunlight, right? So you're not going to be worried about UVB rays hitting you if it's cloudy like it is today. But your UVAs, it doesn't matter whether it's light, dark, sun out, sun off. As long as the sun is hitting you, you're getting UVA rays, right? We just don't tend to focus on it. And I think when it's dark, it's a lot harder to, because the sun is opposite direction. You're not really seeing sun, right? The sun isn't hitting on this part of the land, right? So it's a lot easier to protect it at night because you're not really, any form of UVA rays that you're getting are so minimal that it's inconsequential. But during the day, it's day, the sun is there, and even if you have clouds in the sky, the sun is still facing towards us at that point. The UVA rays are still getting to us at that point. So you want to give yourself that level of protection. So you want something that says it's a UVA, UVB. You want something that says broad spectrum. You don't even have to, it doesn't have to just say UVA, as long as it says broad spectrum. There are regulations around it. So if it does say broad spectrum, it will give you that UVA, UVB protection. Might even give you UVC protection. Probably not, but you know, anything is possible. So it does tell you how to utilize it. It does tell you how to work with it. And I know people are like, but it's dangerous because of the environment. There are no studies yet that have been produced that state that any form of UVA, and talking about your chemical sunscreens, right? Your chemical sunscreens, there's no research done at this point in time that will support the argument that utilizing chemical sunscreens will damage the environment. I'm very much somebody who loves the ocean. I love marine life, and so I want to protect marine life. I'm from an island. I would love to protect my marine life, and for me to say that, I genuinely believe it. There's no research on yet that is supporting that study. It's constantly being monitored by the environmental it's GRASE. I will have it linked. I have it here. And they are constantly monitoring to tell you whether or not it's an environmental risk or not. If it is, the cosmetic industry will be notified and regulations will be updated for ingredients to be used at certain levels or not to be used at all. It's a constantly evolving industry. It's heavily regulated to the point where you wouldn't believe it. It's constantly being updated, it's constantly being monitored, it's constantly being researched on. I know that people are worried a lot about whether or not the cosmetic industry is just, it's not doing what it's supposed to, and trust me, it is. As somebody who's spoken to people in the industry who know, and they're like, yeah, it's constantly being, you have to constantly work. You have your researchers, you have your regulators, you have all of them. They're working very hard to maintain the industry that we all love so much, right? So if you take nothing from this video, it's how to build at least a really proper basic routine. You want your cleansers, you want your hydrator, you want your moisturizer, you want your SPF. Those are your 4 basics, and I wanted to touch upon those first, because I know that people are, if you're like, well, what does it take to build a routine? That is it. Those 4 categories: cleansers, hydrators, moisturizers, SPF. That's it. Those 4 categories, you're good. You don't need anything else. Anything you add upon that is based on your own personal experience, your needs, what your dermatologist says, all that. It's based on research studies, what you're looking for from ingredients, what you're looking for from actives, anything like that. But in terms of what you actually need for your routine, it's those 4 things, those 4 categories. I can promise you, nothing else. Right, so with that being said, guys, I am going to go. I really hope to see you on the next one. And if you did enjoy this video, let's give it a thumbs up. See you on the next one, guys. Bye.